Hi, I'm Lee Partridge and welcome back to Col U TV for our pre-match show ahead of the Grimsby game. Before we get into anything this afternoon, as you may have seen, we are kindly asking supporters to be in their seats at 2:50 p.m, 10 minutes before kick-off for our pre-match tribute to Her Majesty, the late Queen Elizabeth II. There will be a minute's silence starting and ending on the referee's whistle, followed by the national anthem, and we invite everyone to join in. As I'm sure you're aware, Colchester has a very proud history of being a garrison city, and it was only last year that the now King Charles III visited Merville Barracks. More on that later on, but let's take a look at the pre-match thoughts ahead of today's game with Wayne Brown.
Well, we said after Tuesday you could feel things building and it coming together and getting to where you want to be, and a change in formation as well on Tuesday night, further evidence of the flexibility that you have.
Yeah, I think with bigger numbers, adaptable players, you can then start trying to adapt formations and personnel within that team. As I said after the game, I felt we looked reasonably solid, reasonably comfortable. They didn't really open us up at many stages of the game, which was pleasing, and we created a few half chances and some good chances in the game as well. So if you add the two up, it's quite encouraging.
3 at the back against Walsall. I think it's the first time you've done it this season. Was that a horses for courses, or is that something you particularly like to get towards maybe becoming more regular thing?
Again, it just gives us options. It gives us options. I think if you looked at the injuries that we've had, we've not been able to play 3 at the back. Dallo's been struggling all pre-season, and the first part of the season wasn't match ready. Obviously, Smudger gets injured pre-season, and you're left with 2 what I call first team centre halves with the backup of young Billy and the Frankies and the Harrys. But we really dictated on personnel on what we could do. We've obviously got options now because we have 3 fit centre halves, which does give us that option to go and 3 at the back. But it'll be very much looking at how well it went, looking at fixtures coming up to see if that's the right formation to go with, to give ourselves the best chance of getting success. And ultimately that's what we do. We look at the games in isolation and try and pick a team in a formation that is going to give us the best chance of winning a game of football.
On Tom Dallison, he's going to get a goal sooner or later from one of these set pieces, isn't he? Because he seems to be on the end of everything.
Well, you like to think so. With the amount of chances that he's had and the positions that he's getting into, and that's credit to him, because with his aggression and his timing of his runs, he's the one that's actually manufacturing the opportunities by showing the desire and hunger to get in there. The next bit now is actually putting the ball in the net. He's had 2 great chances against Brentford that I can recall. He's had a couple the other night as well. So it's great that he's getting in there. He's showing the hunger and desire to get in there, but ultimately we have got to start putting the ball into the net to win games of football.
And is he fit and okay now? Because he's gone down in a couple of games recently where there are concerns obviously about him because of his injury record since he came here. Is he fully fit?
It's just about managing the individual, really. He has played quite a lot of games of late. He's played sort of the last 4 or 5 games from not having a pre-season, from missing the first part of the season because he's not match ready, and ultimately that will catch up. So it's down to us as a staff to identify that, to manage it, and try and keep him as fit as we can.
Grimsby this week, 3 away wins they've had already this season. Does that tell you that they're attacking away from home, or they have a method of the way they go about things?
I think if you looked at the games in depth as we have, and how they've got their success, they're a decent outfit. They've obviously got promoted last season. They've had that little bit of momentum, which new teams that do get promoted have, without a shadow of a doubt. And they've carried that on into this season. So they're in a good place at the moment. They're in a good little run of form. But as I said, it's down to us to worry about us and not worry about them. We're on a home patch. We're unbeaten in 3. And it's down to us to go on a little run there of ourselves.
This is what I was going to say to you. I'm unbeaten in 3 and just keeping that building, keeping that bubbling along.
Yeah, that's right. Ultimately, we want more points on the board, as does everyone involved, and that's the fans included. You know, you look at the table and people look into the table this stage of the season and start hitting panic buttons. But I think for large spells of games, you know, especially second halves at home, you know, you cast your mind back to the Carlisle game and the Bradford game and the Hartlepool game. The second 45 minutes we've seemed to be at our best to create opportunities to score goals, but we keep sitting here and saying those opportunities need to be in the net. We are creating but we're not scoring. So ultimately, if you're not scoring, you are going to leave yourself open to not winning games of football. Of late we haven't lost games of football, which is very pleasing, but ultimately we do need to put the ball into the net. We've tried to identify in the window of bringing attacking options in to try and give ourselves again the best chance of creating and scoring. And I think of late we have looked a little bit more of a threat, but ultimately we still sit here and we're not scoring many goals. But listen, that will come. Law of averages is, you know, if you do keep creating good opportunities, you are going to give yourself the best chance of scoring goals, and as long as that's the case, then it is positive.
The way you've just talked there at the start of that answer is you're not even looking at the league table.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can at the moment. Listen, we all want to be at the top of the league. We all want to, out of 6 or 7 games, win 5 or 6 of them. Of course, everyone's in the same position. But again, there needs to be a little bit of realism in the fact that, and again, this isn't me hiding behind anything, this is facts. You know, we've had a lot of injuries at the pre-season, start of the season. We didn't bring players in to the environment until the last week of the window because of the reasons that we've gone down before regards to the finances and the loans. We've had to look at loans. The better loans don't become available until that last week of the window because clubs are keeping their best players, and then all of a sudden they've identified that there might not be for them. So then they try and get them out in that last week. So again, we've had to be patient in bringing those in. What we do have now is we've brought the players in, we've got injuries back, so the squad is in a lot better shape than it was the first few games of the season. So now all of a sudden we do give ourselves the best chance of getting performances and results. And then you had the other thing, you know, people have been saying to me, oh, you've been unlucky this season with the fixtures you've played, the performances that you've had, you just can't put the ball in there. Yeah, that's fine, but I don't want to be that unlucky person. You know, we've played well in spells of games. We've had real good periods of games where we should be seeing teams off, but we haven't. And our job now as coaching staff is to build on those positive sort of little spells in games, try and get them positive spells for a longer period of games, keep creating, and as I said, the goals will come. If you're scoring goals, you stand a better chance of winning games. Just
finally for me, you talk about the injuries there, and you mentioned Tommy Smith. I'm thinking John O'Kindy as well. Noemi Hughes is a longer term one. Are those two any closer to being sort of back available to you?
Yeah, I mean we've talked about Ems and Tommy before. They're obviously a little bit more longer term. John's was a niggle, which is now sort of coming back into fitness, so he's hopefully going to be in and around it. So again, that's another one that we can get back, and it just gives us more options.
And Marley Marshall-Miranda and Luke Hannant not involved. Was that just literally down to selection?
Yeah, it's a numbers game. You know, Marley travelled with us on the night, and we just felt with the personnel that we had back in the squad, the likes of Cole Scouse. Obviously, Judgy started. It's probably one of his first starts of late. Along there with Matty, we have got options now in that central area of the midfield. So again, it was a numbers game, and you know, I'll always state that I need to pick a squad for a match day that gives us enough options to win a game of football, and that's what I did on Tuesday.
So Wayne looking for another positive result this afternoon, and he wants you to be a big part of it. So make sure you get behind the lads this afternoon. Moving away from footballing action for a minute or two, we headed down to the Senior U's meeting at Tiptree JobServe Bowls Club a few weeks ago and heard about what they had to say about the sessions with the football in the community across a number of activities.
Yeah, so today we're at Tiptree JobServe Bowls Club for one of our trips away. So far we've done some cycling at the Northern Gateway, we've done a stadium tour, we're looking to go to Essex Cricket, so these are all sorts of trips we can go on, and the benefits that it can bring. The social side of it is amazing. Seeing some of the friendships formed in just the few months it's been going on has been amazing to see.
Meeting new people. I'm actually meeting old friends that I haven't seen for, well, since we retired basically, and it's the camaraderie, and we do something different every week. You know, it's just really different, and it's not too challenging, do you know what I mean? It's a light-hearted bit of fun, if you like, and it's good fun.
Yeah, the good thing about senior years is the number of new people you meet. I've dragged quite a few of those along to other activities as well. So we've got quite a few people here who go to the walking football that Col U do as well. It's nice to meet new people you haven't seen before, and from around the area, because we do cover quite a big area.
After COVID, obviously, lots of these guys have been stuck indoors and haven't been physically active, haven't been meeting people. And senior use has been a great excuse for people to reduce that isolation that COVID brought upon them. So people have been meeting now for, as I say, 3 to 4 months. And I can see that they're not only now going to senior use, they're going to other sessions in the local area as well. So the benefits after COVID of this session have been amazing, because it's really encouraged people to get back outdoors again and see new people.
Great to hear from some of the participants of the senior U's and the football in the community. Ed King is the person that looks after that. It's great to get active, but also it's the social side of that that's fantastic for the participants. If you, yourself, or maybe somebody else you know, would like to be involved in that, do email edward.king@colchesterunited.net or head over to our website for all the details. And currently, on the website, we've also got all the first team lineup today and across our social media platforms. We'll be ending the show a little earlier than normal to allow you to go and take your seats for our tribute to the Queen shortly. But before we go, I've got a programme here with our celebration of Her Majesty, including pictures of her amazing life, as you will see on the front and back cover, and inside the front and back covers, some pictures of her life. And on the back cover itself, where she's handing over the ultimate in footballing trophies, the Jules Rimet, the World Cup, to the late Sir Bobby Moore. Make sure you pick one of those up before you head out. I'll be back on Wednesday with a midweek show, and we've got another home game next week, so you can get your tickets for that at the ticket office. Email anything about Colchester United, whether the big screen, the programmes, or even a mention on one of the shows here, media@colchesterunited.net. Right, I'll leave you with some action from a previous victory against Grimsby. Go out there, cheer on the lads, show your respect, and I will see you very, very soon. Have a great weekend, and it's goodbye for now.